Welcome back. The Democrats floundering as their narrative on gun control completely falls apart. Joe Biden slams the hero who stopped the Texas church massacre. Biden claims the hero who stopped the shooter shouldn't have been allowed to carry his firearm at all. I'm Liz Wheeler, and this is my final point. Okay, so whenever a Democrat and a conservative debate gun control, Democrats immediately regurgitate this talking point, that they just want common sense measures to fight gun violence. They don't want to take people's guns away, they say. Nonsense. Do not believe Democrats when they peddle that garbage, because this is Joe Biden claiming that the hero who stopped the Sutherland Springs, Texas shooting shouldn't be allowed to own that gun.
So with the tragedy that just happened in Texas, my question is, how do you justify the Democratic view on gun control when the shooter was stopped by a man who was legally licensed to carry a gun?
Well, first of all, the kind of gun being carried, he shouldn't be carrying. Assault weapons are. I wrote the last serious gun control law that was written. It was law for 10 years, and it outlawed assault weapons and it outlawed weapons with magazines that had a whole lot of bullets, and so you can kill a whole lot of people a lot more quickly. Number one. Number two, it's just rational to say certain people shouldn't have guns. Now, the fact that some people with guns are legally able to acquire a gun and they turn out to be crazy after the fact, that's life. There's nothing you can do about that. But we can save a lot of lives, and we've stopped tens of thousands of people from getting guns who shouldn't have guns.
Well, there it is. You heard it for yourself. Now, those of you watching the show, you might be afraid of guns. You might wonder sincerely if we would be safer in our country if we had gun confiscation programs like Australia or restricted gun ownership like many European countries do. The answer to that is no, we wouldn't be safer, and statistics in our own country prove that. Firearms are used here 80 times more often to save a life than to take a life. 3 out of 5 convicted felons say they wouldn't mess with an armed victim. The cities in the United States with the harshest gun control laws have the highest rates of gun crime, and all but 2 of the mass shootings in the past 50 years have been committed in gun-free zones, where mass shooters know their victims are sitting ducks. So how do you justify the Democratic view on gun control when the shooter was stopped by a man who was legally licensed to carry a gun? The Democrats' answer, according to Joe Biden, is to take away the gun from the good guy. That leaves just the bad guy with a gun. Does that sound like common sense to you? I think not. According to the FBI, in 2014, 11,961 people were murdered in our country. 8,000 of those murders were committed with a firearm. 5,500 of those murders were committed with a handgun. 262 were committed with a shotgun, and only 248 were committed with any type of rifle. That's right, only 3% of firearm-related murders committed in our nation involved a rifle. That's only 2% of total murders. But will you hear that from Democrats? No, you won't, because Democrats don't want you to know the truth. They want you to think the NRA is evil, even though the Sutherland Springs shooter was stopped by a licensed NRA instructor. Democrats and Joe Biden want to ban rifles like the AR-15 because it looks scary. And evidently, they don't care that AR doesn't stand for assault rifle, it stands for Armalite rifle. And again, the shooter was stopped by a law-abiding citizen and his AR-15. Democrats want us to trust government officials to keep guns out of the hands of criminals, even though the background check system failed 26 people that day in Texas. But Joe Biden and the Democrats can't justify their position on gun control because it's unjustifiable. They'd rather leave bad guys with guns and take away guns from the good guys. And that's my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you like the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.